Welcome to the Private Practice Startup, where we inspire you from startup to mastery. We chat with entrepreneurs, experts in the mental health and business arenas, and successful private practitioners to give you the tools needed to make your dream practice a reality. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, and so much more. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Startup Nation, welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup. I am here with my co-host, the lovely and amazing
Kate Campbell. What's up, guys? Nice to be back.
And I am Katie Lemieux. So before we get started, we hope that you guys listened to our podcast last week. And actually, this was the very first time we did what we called a reverse interview. And we actually got that from Joe Sanak, The Practice of the Practice. There we spoke with Clay Cockrell on his 50th episode on tips for tech, so technology-assisted counseling. One of the areas that Kate and I are super passionate about is paperwork. So we love talking about that stuff. So if you missed that episode, you want to check it out. Plus, we gave you guys a great offer of downloading our HIPAA for free and getting our tech for 50% off. So check out the show notes page because the link is there so you can get the same. So today we're really excited. We are talking to Erin Carpenter. She's an LCSW and founder of Thriving Counseling in Denver. And she's going to be speaking to us today on writing a book and having passive income. So welcome, Erin.
Hey, ladies. Nice to be on.
It's nice to have you. If you are a first-time listener, we wanted to say thank you so much for stopping by the Private Practice Startup podcast. We hope that you make this just part of your week. And we want to make sure that you get a giveaway from us. If you go over to privatepracticestartup.com, our website, head over to the resources tab, look for the A to Z cheat sheet, essentials for building and growing your dream practice. You're going to want to download that, look it over, see what's working for you, see what's not, and then hop over into our Facebook group, the Private Practice Startup, where we can continue to support you on your journey from building your practice the exact way that you want, your dream practice.
Yeah, so it's great to have you here, Erin. And before we get started today, our sponsor, we just wanted to take a moment to thank them. We actually have Therapy Notes, and they are an electronic medical record company. And if you guys want to learn a little bit more about them, you can listen to our podcast episode where we spoke with the CEO of the company, Brad Pliner, on the 5 benefits of using EMR in your private practice. And he talks about a lot about different tips for using EHR, EMR in your private practice. And it's a really comprehensive program that they provide at Therapy Notes. I think they've worked with how many? Is it 25,000 therapists at this point? So they're a really great company and offer amazing products to help streamline your practice. And you guys can head over to our resources tab at privatepracticestartup.com. And there you can find a discount of, I believe, 2 free months and your first year for 10% off. So yeah, make sure to check that out.
Yeah. And so you'll find that in the must-have resources, or if you just contact them directly and let them know that you heard it from us so you guys can take advantage of that discount, that would be great.
Exactly. So let's dive into our topic today about passive income. And I know you guys are really excited to hear this from Erin, especially about the topic of writing a book. I know a lot of people from Startup Nation have been specifically asking for this topic. So let's dive right in. And Erin, tell us what led you into the business that you're in now.
Yeah, hi. So I'm in private practice, as you mentioned. And I guess what led me into private practice was kind of always wanting to do it, wanting to be an entrepreneur, wanting to be self-employed. And I started my practice in 2011 and built it up to, a full-time solo practice that supported myself. And actually, in the past year and a half, I've grown it to a group practice. So we're a small group now, and I have 2 employees that work here with me who are also wonderful.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
That is
Yeah,
great.
thank you. Yeah, it's fun to have a team.
That's great. Yeah. So in your journey in private practice, share with our audience something that you've had to overcome to be where you are today in business.
I think that would be probably perfectionism. I don't know if you ladies can relate to that or your audience probably. But starting a business and starting something new and starting to write a book for sure, I just had to get over this idea that I needed to know how to do it before I started. And we would tell our clients that's a little bit irrational. We might maybe do some CBT around that. I really had to kind of sit with done is better than perfect. And I'm just going to start and be okay with learning along the way and making mistakes.
That reminds me of our podcast that we had with Yolanda Harper, and she's a big Brene Brown fan. And I think, is there an actual quote about something like done is better than perfect? Or it sounds like I've heard it
probably. I love Brene Brown too. I mean, that phrase pops into my mind and I use it, for myself a lot.
Very good. So it's kind of like your mantra to kind of bring you back to reality from the trying to make everything perfect.
Yes. We all need mantras.
For sure.
So let's dive into your topic about passive income and tell us, I guess, where do we start here?
We start with passive income being the absolute best. It's great.
Yes. So true. So true.
It's so true. My favorite thing about writing a book and publishing it on Amazon is now I get money back from Amazon instead of them taking all of my money every month, because I feel like they just take all my money.
Yep. Definitely one of our favorite companies.
For sure.
Yeah. It's something that it is accessible to therapists, but we don't really realize it. We have so much value, and we just need to package it in a way that delivers it to our audience, and that, it just makes you more effective. Like when you're sitting in your office and you're seeing clients, you can only see so many clients a day. But if you have some other income streams, that can just help offset, and honestly helps you reach more people and help more people, which I think we all want to do.
Tell us a little bit about your book. I'm curious about it, what your title is, what your topic is.
Yeah. So my passion is working with survivors of sexual trauma. So men and women that have been through sexual assault or childhood sexual abuse. So heavy topic, but it's totally my passion. And my book is for them. It's a self-help book, and it's titled Life Reinvented, a guide to healing from sexual trauma for survivors and loved ones. So that's a long title. You can buy it.
Yeah, what a great
book. On Amazon, just like any other book. There's a paperback version and a Kindle version. So that's my book. I published it in 2014, and it's been doing really well. A couple of months ago, it reached the $1,000 a month mark, completely passive. It just sells itself on Amazon.
That's amazing, Erin. Congratulations. And I love that you're sharing that, because it also gives hope to the others. And maybe this will kind of jumpstart some of the people who've been kind of hemming and hawing about writing a book. So $1,000 a month in passive income, that's not too shabby.
Yeah, not too shabby at all. I know. I was just talking the other day to Sophia Rabirosa, one of our colleagues down here and friends, and she's in the final stages of her book, and I know she'd be excited to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. I really hope that anything I can share today will just be encouraging to your audience about writing books.
So I know you have 5 steps on how to kind of go towards this. Mm-hmm. So why don't you share with us your steps or tips?
Yeah. Absolutely. So the very first thing that I would really love to say to your audience is to recognize that you are already an expert on something. And if you're an expert on something, you can write a really helpful book about it. We do this all the time in our counseling offices. We're always helping people, guiding people, imparting our wisdom. And that's really, what's in a book is all of that stuff that you would want to say to your ideal client. And if you can put it down in book form, then you're doing really, really great. And so that's the first step, is like getting that mindset, right? Like you're already an expert, we are all experts in our field and our niches.
And what was
go ahead.
Yeah, let me just ask you a question about that. What was your experience of tapping into that mindset? Because some therapists, as they go through their scholastic training, and they're getting their master's or maybe their doctorate, they're trained to not be the expert. And sometimes they have such a hard time tapping into that mindset. Oh, I am the expert in the process. I'm not maybe the expert in that client's life about the specifics and the details of that, but I am an expert in the process. So can you share a little bit about your experience of tapping into that mindset?
Yeah, definitely. I think what really helped me was to move away from, being an expert in a classroom is really different than being an expert in the room with your client. You're always the expert in that room. They're coming to you. They're paying a lot of money to see you and hear you and get your guidance. And so you're always the expert for that client. I think everyone knows when they do the best work, like who their ideal client is. And those are the people that really, really get what you are trying to impart to them.
Nice. So tip number 1 is you're already an expert on something and you can write an amazing book. And how about tip number 2?
Tip number 2 is to find a niche for your book, which is just about thinking about who your audience is. This is usually who you really love working with, honestly, like in your counseling practice. And another tip is to find a space where good books don't already exist. Like think about the self-help shelf at your bookstore and maybe there's a million books on one topic, but there's only a few books on another topic and one that you're interested in. And so for my topic, there's actually not a lot of books written for survivors. There's a lot of books written for clinicians about how to deal with this issue, but there's not that many books for survivors. And the ones that exist were actually pretty old. And so the book itself was born out of a need that I saw. Mm-hmm. I wanted a resource to give to my clients, and there wasn't really one that I could stand behind and get excited about.
And I'm glad that you share that, because Kate and I do a lot of work, education, and training around marketing. And one of the people we follow is Russell Brunson. And so in his book, .com Secrets or Expert Secrets, he talks about the blue ocean is you don't want to go into an area or write something or create something where everyone else is because it's too flooded, right? So you have to move to the blue ocean where, you have a niche, right? It could be like, well, I'm a therapist as a domain and working with couples as a subdomain, but my specialty or niche is actually working with clients or couples through technology-based affairs, right? And that's a very specific niche. So I think it's important that you say that, is really finding something that not only the market needs, that's essential, because if they don't need it, they're not going to buy it. And two, find something that's interesting, that's very niche-based. And it's, whether it's writing a book or seeing our clients, it's the same message that we share, right? Is really finding that niche.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, if people get tripped up on the word niche, think about the word need. What does your ideal client need? Like, what do they need to know? Do they need a handbook about something? I mean, think about in your life what you need. Right now, I personally need a handbook about how to deal with my 2-year-old's tantrums, and I would pay good money for that
I
book.
so relate to that. Yes, I'm in
Even
the same.
If it was like 10 pages long, I'd be like, yep, I'll put that in my Amazon cart tomorrow.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
No, good.
I love how books are so multifaceted as resources, because not only are you reaping the rewards from the passive income, you're also positioning yourself as the expert on this topic, and you're providing an awesome resource for your clients, for potential clients, to get to know you, to get to know what it might be like to work with you, to hear your perspective. So it's almost a way of you building relationships with people before they even come to see you, which is just, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I get a lot of clients that have found me through the book, and even people that aren't local here. I'm in Denver, but I get just really heartwarming emails all the time from people that have found the book and they've found it helpful. It's actually being used. I found this out a few months ago. The book is being used in NIH multi-site academic study for survivors of sexual assault. So it kind of is like an extension of you that goes out in the world and like does good work, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's
so cool.
That's exciting. I love that. I love the possibility that when we are able to impact in ways that we don't even know that we're impacting, and then you hear about it, it's like the chills factor.
Totally.
So that's exciting, Erin. Very good. So share with us your third tip.
So the third tip is to start to think about what you want to write about, and think about your chapters and what you want to say in the chapters. And I know that sounds really overwhelming, but here's how I started. Honestly, I thought about the 7 to 10 most frequently asked questions that I get about this topic, or the most frequently encountered issues, and I started writing them down. And then what I started doing before I even thought about writing a book is I would make handouts for my clients around these topics. I'm sure you guys do the exact same thing. Like, you can't really find a good handout. You just sit down and write a handout, maybe with some exercises, maybe with some psychoeducation, and then you give it to your clients and you keep them around, right? Because you use them over and over. And if you have 7 to 10 really great handouts, that can really be a book.
So basically what you're saying is you might have a book sitting right underneath your nose and you might not even know it.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Like, the most amazing therapists I know, I'm like, yeah, you could write a book tomorrow with all the material you've already created for your clients.
That's so cool, because as you're talking about that, I immediately think I created this affair recovery guideline checklist. Actually, I know Kate has a TRUST acronym that she uses with her affair recovery clients. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I'm like, what other stuff do I have in there that I just whip out? So
you have so much stuff. I'm sure you have so much stuff.
Great tip. And tip number 4 is really important. So share with us what tip number 4 is.
Tip number 4 is to make time to write every day, and it doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of my early drafts of the book were me sort of writing to myself, maybe in this journaly kind of way, maybe because I'm a therapist, but I'd be like, all right, chapter 2, and I would write something like, here's what I really want to talk about, trauma in the brain, and I really want to talk about this and that. Oh, and I remember my client talking about this, and we had a cool conversation about the hypothalamus, blah, 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 blah. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but just write that stuff down. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it out. Just start.
One of the things I'd like to share is probably about a year and a half ago when I was writing my own blogs, which I don't do anymore, but someone who does online marketing gave me a tip, right? And this would be like totally good for a therapist. Like maybe you work late or things like that, and maybe you hate sitting down in front of the computer, is just speak that stuff right into the notes section of your phone. And then you can email it to yourself and it's already written. So utilize technology in a way that makes sense for you to get that stuff down on paper.
That's a great tip. I love that.
Hashtag ninja tip.
That's a hashtag ninja tip for sure.
That's great. That's great. I love that.
So it sounds like really creating the habit of writing every day. And I love how you say it doesn't have to be like you're writing the chapter. You just wrote to yourself and, oh, this was interesting. And they said this and we talked about this and this is a good idea and da, 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 da. It's really just the habit, like whether it's gym or meditation or any other habits that we're creating or have created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the more you do it, the less scary it becomes.
For sure. Interestingly enough, someone had shared probably about 2 months ago, a different definition of fear, which I really liked. And it was fear is either not having the experience yet or having a bad experience. And I loved that because it's so true. Like when we think about things, it's like, well, I'm afraid to do that. Well, why? Well, you haven't really had the experience yet. So are you afraid of the perception? And I know for me, I've always told people I will never run a marathon, which I think I'm holding true to that. And I thought I would never write a book because I hate writing, but it's getting closer and closer to that possibility happening. Maybe not anytime soon, but I can totally see the possibility of that. And as you talk about your tips, you just make it sound so easy that it's like, okay, this isn't that bad.
It's really not that bad. Everyone's experience is different, but because I had been immersed in this material so much, dealing with it every day, talking with my clients, making handouts, it only took me about, I would say 4 to 5 months to actually just write the first version of the book.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's already in there,
And I'm just thinking about how so many therapists are writing blogs or they're doing vlogs or they have all sorts of different content that they're producing, and whether they're actually aware that they can use that towards their book or not. I mean, it's very easy to probably repurpose that content for an ebook.
Yeah, and ebooks can be really short. I mean, you've probably seen on Amazon, there can be little ebooks that you can download for 99 cents that are just really short and to the point, and you could absolutely do that. I mean, my book is more of a full-length book. It's about 250 pages, but you could absolutely, do like a 50-page little guide as an ebook.
All right, Erin, I'm more impressed. I didn't realize your book was that long.
Yeah, and you busted that out in about 5 to 6 months. That's pretty darn impressive.
That is.
It was just a brain dump,
So tell us about tip number 5.
So tip number 5 is like, okay, what do I do now? You actually sit down, you write a manuscript, and you can do one of two things. You can shop that manuscript around to get a book deal from a traditional publisher like Random House or whatever, or you could self-publish it. There's lots of tools to self-publish. That's actually the route that I went for some different reasons. And if you self-publish, it's really easy. What I use is a company called Create Space, which is actually owned by Amazon. So it's Amazon's self-publishing arm. And then they have a different arm where you can self-publish via Kindle. So I think a lot of people get really scared about like, well, what if I can't find a publisher? But you can just self-publish. It's actually totally fine. And after I self-published the book and it had been out for a while, actually another publisher, like brick and mortar publisher, came and bought the rights to it as well to publish it in a different language. What I heard from them is actually a lot of these publishers, they want you to self-publish first and make sure that there's a market for your book.
Very cool. Now, did you have any like training or mentoring, or you this is all self-taught?
As far as publishing, I kind of just, self-taught. There's tons of really great resources just on the internet, watching YouTube videos, how to do it. They walk you through it. You can call up Create Space and they'll kind of hold your hand through the whole process. And I hired a graphic designer to create the cover for the book. I would highly recommend that because you want your cover to look really good.
And you make it sound so easy. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, what was the hardest part? What were the challenges that you ran into while you were writing your book?
Well, the writing itself, I think the challenge was finishing what I started, getting over again that perfectionism of like, maybe I just didn't think it was good enough. And then the technical aspects of self-publishing is just a little bit tedious because you need to upload the file in a very particular way. But you can also outsource that. Really, you can find someone online, like on Fiverr or something like that, to take your text document, like a Word document, and put it into the particular text file that Create Space wants and just upload it for you.
Cool.
How interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
Erin, your 5 tips were 1, hey guys, you're already an expert. You can write something amazing. 2 is you want to find a niche or a need. I like how you say that for your audience. Make sure to get a detailed outline of the chapters. And a lot of times you recommend that stuff is just sitting beneath your nose that you already use in session all day, every day. Assuring that you're making time every day to write. It doesn't need to be perfect. You could write to yourself. You could dictate it in your phone as tip number 4. And then 5 is shop your book proposal and or self-publish. And you recommended the resource Create Space.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you really like to assure that our listeners take away from your message today?
Oh, I hope it's just encouraging. I think, I do run into a lot of people in the world that they seem to be impressed that I've written a book, but I think that anyone can really do it. And I think that, therapists, we have so much to share. And if you commit to writing down all this amazing advice and insight and wisdom that you're sharing with your clients every day, I think that makes a really great book.
So simply put.
And passive income is great too.
Yeah, exactly. So Erin, I know that you have a giveaway and you are offering the first 5 people who listen to this podcast and take action by emailing you at Erin@thrivecounselingdenver.com, which will also be on the show notes page. But by the time I've said that, some of you are already emailing and getting the book. So she's going to give the first 5 people to email her requesting the free book. And if you're not one of the first 5 people, buy it anyways. So Erin, share again the title of the book, and it's on Amazon.
Yeah, the title of the book is called Life Reinvented, A Guide to Healing from Sexual Trauma for Survivors and Loved Ones. And it's on Amazon just like any other book. So you could search for that or search for my name as the author, Erin Carpenter, and I'm sure you'll find it there.
And we will go ahead and add that link to our show notes page so people can find that. Erin, you've been a fabulous guest, and you just like your presence and your calmness and the way that you talk about writing a book, it just makes it like so easy. Like if I had the motivation, I might go do that this weekend, but no. Not yet.
Your plate is a little full.
My plate is like Thanksgiving. It's like it's falling all over the sides right now.
Oh, man. Mine too. Thank you for having me on, ladies. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you. So Startup Nation, we hope that you really enjoyed this podcast. And if you are looking to write a book, hopefully this would be the motivation for you. And I'm sure that Erin would be willing to answer any of your questions, maybe give you some guidance on some resources and things like that. So make sure you check out all the tips and resources on our show notes page. Next week, we are going to be talking with Michael from the Concierge Counselors on Facebook ads. The struggle is real. That was a really exciting podcast. Michael actually breaks things down in very understandable analogies. It was a lot of fun. So you guys are definitely going to want that. And that's actually something that we polled you guys and you said, yes, I want that. So we wanted to make sure that we delivered a podcast topic that was super interesting for you. And while you're on the show notes page, or if you're listening to us on iTunes, we would love for you to rate and review our podcast, because we do what we do because of you. So it's always great to hear your feedback. If there's a special topic that you want to hear, you could post that on there. You could post it on the Facebook group, email us, smoke signals, whatever. Just make sure we get the message. But we will hope you guys have an awesome day. And thank you for allowing us to continue to inspire you from startup to mastery.
See you later, guys. Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.